What do Bob Hope, Dwight Eisenhower, Alfred Hitchcock, Sally Rand, Hugh Hauser, and the Singer Sewing Company all have in common? Well, the answer is the Rubel Castle in Glendora, California. So, what exactly is the Rubel Castle? Well, the answer starts with a man named Michael Rubel. And it's kind of a long story, but the short story is Michael's father suddenly died in 1946 when he was only 6 years old. His mother, Dorothy Rubel, had come from New York and had a previous life as a dancer in the Ziegfeld Follies. As such, she had a lot of friends. One of these friends was Arthur K. Bourne, who was a retired owner of the Singer Machine Company. And in 1949, Arthur K. Bourne decided that he was going to retire to Lake Tahoe. He left behind the land that he owned in Glendora, California to Michael and his mother, and they decided to start living on that land. Michael decided, since Arthur was going to retire, he should just ask for the land, and surprisingly, Arthur granted it to him just like that, so he got it for free. And so in 1959, Michael Rubel took over the 2.5 acres that was the abandoned citrus farm. Dorothy Rubel, Michael's mother, had some pretty crazy parties in that old packing house that they called the Tin Palace.
The movie stars. There's hundreds of them. And this was the popcorn popper. So they would put a 100-pound bag of popcorn seed with oil, and this would pop the popcorn for the party. The biggest party she ever had was 1,200. And Michael got most of his automobiles from the movie stars.
One of Dorothy's best friends was an actress named Sally Rand. Sally Rand was famous for the fan dance. Dorothy and Sally entertained lots of people at their Tin Palace. Jack Benny, Bob Hope, and Alfred Hitchcock were all there, but probably the most important guest that they ever had was Dwight Eisenhower. There's an amusing story of the former U.S. president when he got stuck in one of the elevator shafts inside of this Tin Palace. Throughout these parties, Michael slept in one of the giant citrus refrigerators that had been converted into a bedroom. The walls were thick of cork, but were not sufficient sound insulation for the parties, and he was often kept up at night. In 1968, Michael got fed up with this situation, and so he fired up his cement mixer, and with a pile of discarded champagne bottles, at least that's the way the story was told, he began building himself a small getaway house built out of bottles in the middle of a 16 million gallon concrete reservoir. With the high walls of the reservoir, it provided him insulation, and he was finally able to get some sleep.
Walking around. We're going to go in what Michael called a dungeon. Now, the kids were digging septic tanks, and one kid said, well, geez, we're going to have a castle. Let's have a dungeon. That made sense. Well, Michael said, no, we don't have to dig a dungeon because we've got one already. And what it was, this was all going on at around 1900. This was before they used rebar and anything. And that building back there, that was the kitchen where they cooked for all the ranch hands. They had probably 200 ranch hands. And anyway, down below it, this is prior to refrigeration. So it was a cold room where it was underground, and they would keep the food down there to help keep it cooler. And so Michael called it his dungeon. Well, the people that live here now, the 10 people, they use it for their gathering place. So I'm going to let you go down in it and take a look. It's pretty cool. So come this way.
Noticing the advantages of living out in this old bottle house, he decided to expand with some help of some friends. A lot of friends. Over 1,000 people helped build the castle. Soon the towers rose to be over 5 stories tall. In fact, it kind of became kind of a nuisance to the city, and the city wanted to put a stop to all of it.
These are old water tanks from the various ranches around. And these are all carcasses of hit and miss engines. They used to use these a lot in sawmills or for water pumps. Now, before the city gave him running water, the kids got together and they built the water tanks, and that's where they were getting their water from. And once they got city water, then they didn't need it anymore, so it dry rotted and it's kind of falling apart.
One of the stories that the docents told to us is the city didn't really like the Rubel Castle, but the Rubel Castle was pretty popular, especially among college kids in the 60s who would come and camp out at the lands. You see, back then it wasn't such a suburban area. It was more of out in the middle of nowhere area. But the houses did come later and the people did start to complain. And so what the city did is they cut off all utilities. They wouldn't allow Michael to install any of the utilities, but the people still came and it was still building. In fact, so many people came and built on the land that the parents of those kids who were camping on the land went to City Hall and they threatened not to vote for the mayor if they didn't allow utilities to be built on the land. And that's how Michael got the utilities to finally increase the land. He also got the city to build a wall around the place. So there's a big giant wall now around the castle today that kind of protects it and insulates it from the rest of the track housing that is there today. The castle itself is very interesting. There's lots of tunnels, lots of interesting recycled materials that are inside, and you can see the love and care that was put in throughout all the years.
Just in case you need some toast while you're building your wall, they have a toaster in the wall.
Yeah, Lester thought a face. And if you look at it long enough, it does look like a face. And so he said that was the guy that didn't work fast enough and got cemented in the wall. Now, he had another story like that. Over there, where you see the two monks stuck in the wall. That was the story on that one. Now, the two big openings that have jailhouse bars, that's where he built a secret house.
One of the most interesting parts of the tour that we did was when we got to see the restored Seth Thomas clock. This Seth Thomas clock that was running one of the clock towers is from the year 1896, and it's one of only 5 that were built. So it was kind of cool to see this old mechanical clock still working even today. If you get the chance to go to Glendora, I highly recommend that you go visit the Glendora Castle. The tour is $20, which is a little bit much, but it's a 2-hour tour, and it's a fascinating look into one man's dream and to see what could happen if you could just build that fort just a little bit higher and keep a hold of your childhood just for just a little bit longer. We are going to go here to Damasceno Mediterranean Restaurant because Denise decided she wanted Mediterranean food today.
Yes. There's actually several highly rated Mediterranean places here in Glendora. So
Okay.
I don't know what makes Glendora the
Mediterranean place, but we're going to find out.
the hotbed of Mediterranean food.
Okay, we got some chicken, some beef, some rice.
There's
some-
rice under the chicken and
Yeah.
beef, and she got us some other stuff.
Isn't that
Hummus.
hummus. Okay,
Hummus.
hummus with oil.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.